Hello, dear student. Today I want to present a new topic in front of you. The title of that topic is Ecocriticism approach in Charles Darwin's On the Origin of Species and Stephen Hawking's A Brief History of Time. Ecocriticism is an interdisciplinary and earth-centered approach in literature, which has widened the scope of literature. It is the combination of two words, eco and criticism. It is an approach which studies the relationships between living organisms and their shared environment. It is a seed which has brought up with the four branches: literature, criticism, environment, and ecology, with the leaves of sciences and humanities. Science and literature many times consider about creation, preservation, and restriction of livings and non-livings, as Darwin and Stephen Hawking consider. There is a minor difference between literature and science. Science is based on the theory of experience and observation, while literature is based on imagination and reason. As I have been always mentioned that Ecocriticism is a recent and interdisciplinary approach in literature. It is the combination of two words, eco and criticism. So I want to explain the difference or what is the meaning of eco and criticism. Eco is a short form of the word ecology. It is related to the branch of science. Another word that is a criticism. It is related to the branch of literature. And Ecocriticism is an interdisciplinary and earth-centered approach. Why it is an interdisciplinary and earth-centered approach? It is interdisciplinary approach because it has its relation with the humanities such as history, anthropology, psychology, philosophy, and theology. And it has also its relation with the sciences as biology, physics, chemistry, astrology, and earth science. Darwin wrote a book on the origin of species. It is the revolutionary book on the biology. And Stephen Hawking's A Brief History of Time is a book on the physics. Before going to ahead, I want to give a brief history of Ecocriticism. This term Ecocriticism was first coined by William Rickett. He coined this term in his famous essay Literature and Ecology: An Experiment in Ecocriticism in the year 1978. But this term was not planted in literature until the year 1985. There was another person, that was the Federico Wag, who edited book Teaching Environmental Literature, Materials, Methods and Resources. And from that time, this approach was introduced or planted in the literature. Then there were the floods of association, workshops and conferences relating to the Ecocriticism. The American nature writing newsletter was founded by the Alice Netiki. Herald Forum formed Modern Language Association in 1991. After giving a brief history of Ecocriticism approach, I also consider that it is better to give some definitions of Ecocriticism for the better understanding of this term. I will give two definitions of famous lady Cheryl Gladfeltry. Cheryl Gladfeltry edited the book The Ecocritical Reader. She defines Ecocriticism according to her. Ecocriticism is the study of the relationship between literature and the physical environment. So it became clear that Ecocriticism approach studies the relationships between literature and their environment. Then she gives another definition that is also very interesting. As a critical stance, it has one foot in literature and another on land. And as a theoretical discourse, it negotiates the relationship between the human and the non-human. Thus, it became clear that eco-criticism approach studies the relationship between the human and the non-human, means that is, there is a direct relationship between literature and the environment. Then question come in my mind also, what is eco-criticism? So it is necessary to understand the origin of the eco-criticism. The word Ecocriticism was taken from the word ecology. So it is necessary to understand what is ecology. So I will give you clear explanation of the word ecology. The word ecology is derived from the Greek word oikologos. The literary meaning of this word is home and study. And according to the first ecologist, Theophrastus, the ecology is interrelations between organisms and their shared environment. So it became clear that ecology means the science that shows the relations between organisms and their shared environment. After this definition, I will give the another definition of C.L. Clarke. Ecology is the study of interrelations of plants and animals with their environment, which may include the influence of other plants and animals present as well as those of the physical features. Means he also shows the clear relationship between beings and non-beings. Then there is another definition that is given by G.A. Petrides. He says, ecology is the study of environmental interactions which control the welfare of living things, regulating their distribution, abundance, production, and evolution. He considered about the 4 points. One is the distribution, second is the abundance, third is the production, and fourth is the evolution. The same things is also considered by literature and also by the science also. Thus, it became clear that the word ecocriticism is a short form of the word ecology. And ecology is the science which studies the relationships between living beings and their shared environment. Then environment means what? The word environment generally means air, water, earth, sky, sun, moon, stars, mountains, rivers, trees, plants, grass, animals, birds, insects, and human beings. It studies the relationships between biotic and non-biotic. Then, I also want to give the clear meaning or definitions of the word criticism. The word criticism is derived from the Greek word that is a kritos. Kritos means to judge. In short, the word ecocriticism is a siege which is brought up with 4 branches like a literature, criticism, environment, and ecology. That is why it widened the scope of literature to the sciences and the humanities. After explaining all those things about origin of the words ecocriticism approach, definitions and origin of the words ecology, and their relationships with the sciences and humanities, I come to the origin point, how the literature also reflects the same views as the views were expressed by Charles Darwin in his Origin of the Species and Stephen Hawking in his A Brief History of Time. So I will give some examples of some poems. What is literature? Consider yourself. Generally, It is found that literature many times consider the feelings of creation, preservation and destruction. And I will explain. As in the P.B.Shelley's Ode to the West Wind. You know, it is very famous ode in literature. The poet considered the same feelings at the end of the first stanza, when he says, "Wild spirit, which art moving everywhere, destroyer and preserver, here, oh here." What the P.B.Shelley is also considered in his poem, he also considered about the same feelings of destroyer and the preserver, which were also destroyer and preserver, and he considered that west wind is the destroyer and preserver. After that, I also want to give another example or the famous sonnet. The title of that famous sonnet is Ozymandias. Ozymandias is also described the creation of the king's kingdom and destruction of the king's kingdom and his powers. As in the science and as in the another books consider. The lines from this poem is that my name is Ozymandias, king of kings, look on my works, a mighty and despair. What the poet considered here also, the poet also considered about the destruction, preservation and creation. Though that Ozymandias was created the kingdom, it was preserved for some time and then it was destroyed. Then there is another famous poem. That title of that poem is a Pulley. Pulley describes the creation of human beings. It considered that God has created human beings and created birds, trees, animals for the pleasure of human beings. What he considers here is also, he also considers about the relationship of human beings along with the environment. And God also bestowed beauty, strength, pleasure, honor and a power to the human being. He not only creates human beings, but he also creates the universe for the human beings. He also blesses various blessings. George Herbert says, when God at first made man, having a glass of blessing standing by, let's us, said he pours on him all we can. Then I will give the another example of the same feeling, which we are also considered in the poem of Matthew Arnold. Matthew Arnold wrote a famous elegy. That title of the elegy is Dorwich. Dorwich describes nature and culture in the form of destruction. The poet says that in the ancient time the faith of religion was full, but the modern people lost such faith and become unhappy. He says, the sea of faith was once too. At the full and around earth a shore lay like the folds of a bright cradle. What he considers? He also considers about destruction and also the creation. Then, after giving some examples from the poems, I also wanted to give or to explain two books, what they consider. Stephen Hawking, in his A Brief History of Time, stated about non-biotic objects. According to him, this universe is created from the atoms. He also considered about the same feeling of creation. He says, it may be that our very existence is a consequence of our river process. The production of protons or more simply of quarks. from an initial situation in which there were more quarks than antiquarks, which is the most natural way to imagine the universe. He considers that this universe is created from the quarks. Then he says a number of such experiments have been carried out, but none have yielded definite evidence of proton or neutron decay. He also considered that there are a number of experiments
have been carried
done
out
on the atoms, but none have been explained that the atoms have been
could destroy
decay
or
in some time. He also stated with the study of the universal non-being object, there is no danger to the beings. He says, I want to do for at least another 10,000 million years, since it has already been expanding for at least that long, things should not unduly worry us. By that time, unless we have colonized beyond the solar system, mankind will long since have died out, extinguishes along with the sun. What he considered here is also, it means that this universe will be survived until the existence of the sun. One day it will destroy. But don't worry, though the sun will destroy, mankind will find the another solar system. Charles Darwin also stated that while studying the relationships between biotic and non-biotic, that there are various relations between the beings and non-beings for the creation, preservation, and destruction. He gives the example of birds. The birds which are surviving on the beings like an insect. Thus, for their creative process, they are destroying insect. He is also considering
considers
on the same points of creation, preservation, and destruction. By eating them, they can become able for a production and evolution. And when they ate such kind of a thing, then they become able to creation of something, or production, or evolution. They also eat seeds for their cycle of life. He says, we behold the face of nature bright and gladness. We often see abundance of food. We do not see, or we forget that the birds which are idly singing round us mostly live on insect or seeds, and are thus constantly destroying the life. We forget how largely these songsters, or their eggs, or their nesting are destroyed by birds and beasts of prey. We do not always bear in mind, though the food may be now superabundance, it is not so at all seasons of each recurring year. Here he also considers that the birds and their creation, preservation, and destruction, and there is a relationships between living beings and their shared environment. In the last, I want to reach to the conclusion that literature and sciences generally have the themes of creation, preservation, and destruction. There is no doubt. The methods in the literature are imaginative, metaphysical, and reasonable, but the medium of the science are experiments and observations. Thus, thanks for watching my video. Okay, please stop.